Hello, everybody, and welcome to another week, another stream. It's Monday, and today I want to do something different. Hello, casual. Hello, my friend. So, because I'm very cold, quite literally, I feel cold, and it is cold. Uh, and I didn't draw much today, if at all, so I am cold. My hand is cold. I'm gonna do some basic exercises that I do sometimes, and I did these this morning, just these ones and these hands a couple days ago, as kind of warm ups. And I thought it would be cool to just show what I do every now and then to stay in shape, form wise. So I'm just gonna do them, and as I wrote in the description, it would be best if these were done on actual paper. Obviously, I cannot film in that case, so I'm gonna do them here. Let's start with some boxes. The only thing I care about is to get a sense of the volume. Actually, you know what? Let's start with the others. So I learned these from it was dynamic sketching that I took with Patrick Ballesteros a few years ago on CGMA. And I'm gonna rotate this or not. No, you know what? And basically, you take a piece of paper, usually an A4 or like a printer paper, and you add some lines and you start drawing circles by ghosting the line in and then doing it. Now, obviously, it's harder, and I'm gonna need Lazy Nezumi for this. It's harder if it's digital because there is no drag from the paper on the pen, and these are best done with an actual pen, not with pencil. But I guess it's the same. These are gonna be far from perfect, and I promise I'm much better at doing these on paper than I am digitally. Not really holding my breath, but kind of breathing out when I do these. And I used to do, I think, at least a page or two of these every day. Now I don't do it anymore because I messed up my desk easel, like the drawing board, so I can't really draw if I don't keep the sheet flat. I don't want to do that because it's bad practice. These are kind of normal warm-ups for me. It doesn't matter as much for digital that they are perfect, and they're very far from being perfect in this case. But it does help a lot to warm up the hand, so I'm still going to do them. I'm going to do a row of intersecting circles. Now, I'm very silent when I do this because if I talk, they're gonna be even more messed up than this. So I'm trying not to. And I am for these I'm drawing from the let's see, kind of the shoulder, a little bit from the elbow, but mostly from the shoulder. Hello, Mr. Industrial. Yes, welcome to the final week. If everything goes according to plan, which is not granted. One never knows. With all the things that one needs to do to go to that wretched country, it's very easy to not be able to do it. If the planets align, yes, I will be leaving on Thursday. if the planets align. And I got my right hand is literally frozen. God. Touch my face, I feel like ice. It's not even that cold outside, but for some reason I didn't sleep much again, so my temperature regulation is completely off today. And then I can do some ellipses. I'm trying to maintain the same degree, more or less, throughout the line. And also inclination. Oof, these are horrible. Redo it. The reason why you do these with the pen is obviously because you cannot undo. So I'm cheating. What time are you supposed to leave if all goes well? Around 12 at noon. From the airport, not from home. God, no, man. See why I shouldn't talk? God, this is pretty bad. Okay, try another row. I'm gonna do circles to get smaller. Hello, Saman. Hello. Welcome. Oh, I think I saw you comment on hello, Emperor of Cheese. Saman, I think I saw your comments on David Finch video where Eric Gist was special guest. Emperor streams. Oh, I saw you streamed a couple days ago. Was it 2 days ago? Okay, so I guess my hand warmed up a little bit, although it's still cold. Yes, Eric, with K though. Eric Gist is with K. Yes, he was my mentor actually. And also one of my teachers at the Watts. But Cheese knows him too in person. It was our teacher. So, okay, so what else? I think, okay, Let's do this other thing here, just to keep warming up a little bit. I'm not a big fan of this exercise for one simple reason. Unless you are 100% sure that these are squares in perspective, the ellipse you're gonna draw on it is gonna be completely wrong. So completely wrong. So I don't even know. It's an exercise mainly used for improving dexterity. But this is clearly not a square, so obviously the ellipse it's not gonna be an actual circle in perspective. Random question, yes. Do you know anything about audio and direct monitoring? No. I have never heard direct monitoring. I don't know what that is. Oh, by the way, Saman, there is actually a funny thing about Eric's last name, because it seems that a lot of people confuse it. And he also made a post about it on Instagram some time ago. But when I was there, a couple people, they bet, I don't remember, maybe $10 or something, on the fact that his name was pronounced Gist. Do you remember that, Cheese? I don't know if you were there because it was evening. And so they were discussing this, and this is like, oh no, his name is Gist, and the other was, no, his name is Gist. And they had this bet, and I'm like, you know what, his name is Gist. And he was like, shut up. And that his name is Gist. So it seems that some people are confused again, and he made a post about it some time ago. It was pretty funny. Anyway, so beyond the classic exercise there, what I like to do after these is usually a lot of boxes and things that put me in the thought process of dealing with three-dimensional surface on a 2D surface, surfaces on a 2D surface. Like GIF, 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 yes, kind of. Oh. He has an ad playing. There's an ad playing on Twitch right now. Unfortunately. So now I'm just gonna draw some boxes, and I'm not overly concerned with them being perfect boxes, like perfectly from the perspective standpoint. But I want them to feel like, I want to feel in my head like I am actually drawing a 3D thing. So I would do things like, maybe I will divide it, and I'll make sure I get the feel for the third dimension. Right, something like that. It doesn't have to be pretty or anything. It's just a way for you to enter in the mood of drawing three-dimensional shapes. And again, because I'm doing this on a digital surface, imperfections will occur. Also because my hand is still freezing. And I do a lot of boxes all the time. A lot of boxes. Maybe later I'll do the box rotation exercise. I actually found a guy who made a template based on Kranz Kuchart's lessons. It's pretty useful. You can look up his channel on YouTube. It's Get Good. He's got some pretty interesting stuff. Oh, the Akura anime commercial is on. Okay. Look at Cheese getting upset. Cheese, if you don't want to see the ads, you're welcome in the voice channel, but you gotta talk and draw along. It's just warming up. It's your favorite stuff. It's basically just warm-ups. Some of these are going to be stinkers. Very much. Warm-ups. Yeah. Yeah, just these are just warm-ups. They're not really anything fancy. They're just simple exercises. That's what you like doing usually, right? Calligraphy exercises or hand control exercises, although on paper. These are mostly, by the way, in 3 points perspective. So it's like this is happening, this, and this. Oh, I forgot the arrow. This, and then also this. Right, 3 vanishing points. A positive of living in a developing world is we don't get 5 targeted ads every hour. Okay, that's cool. But he's on Cheese is on Twitch, so no, YouTube doesn't play ads, I think. It's been a while since you did cube exercises. Might be a good time to do them again. The usual problem I have is figuring out like the first couple lines. Like I have to decide the orientation basically of the box. And when you draw multiple boxes, they're supposedly part of the same environment. Like, see this one. This is too, like, the lines are converging too fast compared to the others, which is something you want to be aware of. And for me, it's like I have to do this at least a few times a week. Otherwise, I completely lose track of rendering on paper, like rendering the third dimension on paper. The ads are all around you, just don't notice them. That could be true. I am an ad. I'm a walk-in ad. Walk-in. The walk-in ads could be a parody of The Walking Dead. The walking ad. You do them in your head? Oh, I don't know. That doesn't work for me. Unfortunately, I guess you're at a different point in your drawing journey. I have to draw them. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Does YouTube have targeted ads based on geographic location? Yes, it does. I do not have ads on YouTube though, because I'm not a partner. Considering what you see outside lately, it looks like zombies walking around, pretty much. You mean people. Pretty sure that someone did that about the apocalypse. For ads? You mean with the ads? Okay, Control Z should not be used. I have to refrain from using Control Z. Refrain. Alright, let's try to introduce some cylinders. Apparently it was a thing back in 2017. I didn't know that. I'm not trying the like one fell swoop here thing because I feel like Control Z again. Okay, I have to. Let's move the keyboard away. I don't know. I'm too used to it, but at least put my hand on it. I don't care about the ellipse being perfect. Again, I just want do feel like the surface. I can try it, but the problem with these is that I have no control, not much control, see, over the length, and then this happens. So I prefer to just draw them the other way. Once again, because I can gonna try to figure out the correct angle. Usually what you want for the cylinder is that you have the ellipse, and the minor axis of the ellipse is the axis excuse me, the axis of the cylinder as well. Now this is very bad but it's what should happen. And this doesn't have to be as boring as I'm making it. It could be, you can draw wheels, for example. Wheels that I draw are going to be extremely bad. These are simply, I'm saying wheels, but wheels are not like this. These are simple, short cylinders. And they're harder for me to draw than actual cylinders, like longer cylinders. If you want to draw wheels, you would have to, which is another good exercise. You can find all of these on Drawabox as well. It's drawabox.com. Very good website. I used it for a while, several years ago. So you do 2 cylinders, matching, hopefully, cylinders. Notice that I'm not using the guides here, because the point is not using the guides, to training your hand to do that. You should do a character design stream, but humanoid characters. No. I don't think so. I don't want to overly embarrass myself. You should do it. You draw characters. I draw monsters because I don't draw characters well. I can draw faces. Okay, this is some sort of wheel. Some sort of. You can also hire me for master commissions. I will make you draw wheels also, yeah. You're not going to embarrass, just play with it. Nah, I don't know, maybe one day, but... You see me do it, you mean the waifu character? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. So already, like, compared to 20 minutes ago, I feel at this point that my hand is starting to get a little more ready for drawing. And so I can start manipulating these simple things. It's a little too wide. Adding some, like another level, basically, of complexity to these. And you can literally draw 3 hours just doing this. Although the best way to probably do this thing is do like half an hour to an hour each day, every single day, forever, so that you can stay sharp. I was doing 20-30 minutes every day when I was in Japan. Then I stopped. You can start like mixing them up. Like, what if this has a... Wait, this is probably going this direction, so it would have to be something like that, as if there is a cylinder here or something, and then it's some sort of, I don't know, obviously not its lid, but something like that. Good to expand and move your training around to stay fresh, but I am doing it by myself. I just don't want to stream it. Study art with people that can draw figures from memory. I'm surprised that you don't do it often. No, I didn't study art with people that can draw figures from memory. In fact, almost nobody. I mean, okay, Eric could, but if you don't practice drawing figures from memory every day, you will not be able to do that. And I don't do it very often. I've shown you, where are these? Like, these are like for anatomy, hips, legs exercises, but these are not from memory. This was where are the others? Like these, okay, these are, some of these are copied. I did some from memory. These are Batman studies, but you can see they're pretty basic. So you would have to do this for hours every single day to be able to draw them from imagination, and copy a lot first. So copying a lot, like a lot from comic books, especially comic books. Very, very good. If you want to draw women, you can try manga because they're maniacs, so they like to. Yes, Cheese, you have to copy to start with. You copied too a little bit when you started. I mean, you did figure drawing in any case, so that's copying technically. Do not talk people into believing that copying is bad. Copying is not bad. Copying is how you learn. That's how kids learn. So copying is ingrained in the mechanism of learning, emulating more than copying. And there's nothing bad. I studied those figures from Batman comics, and I think it's a very, very good way to improve your figures. Like, this is pretty bad. This one is pretty bad. What a bad box. This is wrong. The poor Cheese is drunk today, it seems. Or has a bout of amnesia. I recommend, like I told you before, Keyframe movies. It's like a movie scene with stills. They're called Genga in Japanese. I see there are some of the best references out there. It depends. There are some very good comic book artists that draw very dynamic figures. I think they're fine to copy from, honestly. Okay, so this is starting to be off a little bit. Dare you backtalk me? It's okay, your medicine is coming soon. Don't worry. Let's try something like this. Okay, this is a little more extreme. In fact, probably too extreme. Can be worked with, but this is probably outside the circle that would be used to define normal perspective. Okay, why don't I, let's see. Can also integrate other things. I'll probably do it now. So a book would be something like this, probably. This, let's see, how would this be? Probably. So because these are converging that way, probably going to be converging this way as well. Something like that. Obviously the book would be more like adding to this, obviously drawing the other side through. And this would have to be like something like that, I don't know, for a book. This is not how I draw books usually, but I guess you can construct it this way as well. Very thick book, it's like a Bible or something. Constructed with very simple shapes. And this is the basis for everything. Like if you want to just skew this, this is now not a square anymore. It's like seen from the side. It's like this, right? You can draw the mouth of a dragon or something. All right, see you, Emperor of Cheese, Emperor of Swift Cheese. Spread it a little off. I think it would be better like that. It's also too wide because I went down here and this was supposed to be like this. No, something like that. Something with a thick jaw. Another good exercise that I haven't done as much. I did it when I was doing Art WOD. If you're interested, Art WOD. I think it's artword.com. Let me check. I think without dash now, because it used to have a dash, like a hyphen. Okay, yes, it's artword.com. A very good website by a friend of mine. Not sponsoring this video. He teaches fundamentals along with other courses now, and he's got this. I already talked about this, but this fantastic program that's called Art Workout of the Day. That's what WOD means. And it's just a series of exercises that you do every week or every, I think, 2 weeks. It changes every 2 weeks. It's got 3 cycles. It's got organic, figure, and mechanical stuff. It's very, very useful. A lot of fundamentals, a lot of very, very good training, especially for spatial awareness. So invaluable stuff. It's very cheap, so you can try it out. I think there is a free trial, by the way. I think it's a week, probably. Still, if it still is, it was at least. So, and that exercise was a little. That kind of exercise is a little different. There are all these things, obviously, but one of them is to either extend or indent a geometry to create. For some reason, I always. All these boxes are 45, which is bad. So to create rounded corners, beveling basically. I think it's called beveling. So smoothing things out like this. I'm not very good at it, as you can probably tell, but it's a very good exercise. Again, it's all meant to strengthen your understanding of the third dimension when drawing. I'm just going to eyeball it there, probably there as well. And then you can do other cool stuff, like now that hopefully your hand is warmed up enough. You can do something like okay, what if, oops. So what if you got a plane here instead, and you want to cut a hole in it, like where there's a flight of stairs here, and then it goes down this direction, and you decide how much it should be. and then, oh, maybe it's too much, very steep stairs, but or a ramp, and then you do it like that. I think it's probably not needed. You can draw even draw small small landscapes with paths on them as a warm-up. Yeah, and these are all supposed to just strengthen a sense of third dimension when you're drawing. Obviously these are not going to be precise now, but it's fine. This is just an example. It doesn't have to be super precise, but you get the gist of it. As long as it feels like it's going down, that's fine. In the same way, you can add slopes. Of any kind. One good exercise is, okay, it's kind of hard, but it would be to make a shape, well, form, make a, I don't know, box, some sort of box that is approximately, this I think is like 2 by 1, kinda, not precise, but sort of 2 by 1. You can divide it by doing this, by the way. So this was correct. You can do this, and this is the halfway point. Let's pretend this is 2 by 1. If this side is probably a little off, but it's fine. So if this is 1, this is 1, this is 1, it's 2 by 1. And then the goal is to rotate it in space at this point. And when you do it times enough, oh, hello, Cloud and T. Thanks for following. Thank you for following. At this point, you have to draw this same thing, maintaining the proportions roughly. Obviously, you're not a machine, so be kind to yourself. So if you want to draw it, say, from this angle here, let's use another, wait. Let's say this. No, this is too similar. Let's do, as long as you maintain a rough proportion of that, it's gonna be fine. So this is, considering it's a little larger than 1 here, it's fine. It could be like this. Just make sure the one box is 1 box wide and tall, and then it's going to be the same thing, just another angle. And you can do this with everything. So if you put something inside the box, you should be technically able to rotate it in 3D space. Now this is really hard. I've not mastered this. In fact, I find this extremely hard and humiliating. But in theory, if you do it like with like a chest, like a Loomis chest, I forgot the proportions of that. Basically, you draw the chest, or even a head. You can do it. Let's see if we can do it with a head. I'm gonna do. Let's see. You can do the classic. Another thing you can do, by the way, is this. So you draw a ball that has to feel like it is a ball. It's like a Loomis head. Let's divide it. Along which axis? This is wrong. Let me see. Top is probably going to be around here. So lop the sides. If you want to draw heads, that is. Lop the sides and then just add to this. Or it's a little too short, maybe a little longer than that. Something like this. And then you divide in thirds. So 1, 2, probably a little too much. Something like that. It's a bit off as a Loomis head, but And then obviously you can add the neck and whatnot. But what you can do is take a simple head form. It's not exactly too... It depends on the type of head, obviously. Let's see. So if we draw... Man, I'm going to embarrass myself with this. Let's try... Because the head is... Technically, it's a square from the side. So it falls within a square except the nose. Until the nose bridge, it does at least. So you could do... The front would be shorter than a square, but... I mean, you could do it one... Let's see, divided in... No. How can we do this? I'm trying to make this up as I go, so I apologize if it's a little weird. Let's see, let's pretend... No, I'm gonna draw a normal head. I'm gonna draw just a normal head. With normal head proportions. So if you draw a head like this, the eyes are roughly in the middle. Let's see, let me check if the actual middle. Yeah, it's the middle. Something like that, or you can do it like this, right? So you get the proportions of this thing, which are, let's see, if that is 1, probably 1 1/3. Yeah, that's about 1/3. So it's 1 1/3, I guess. So the square is like, it's a little more than that. Let me take, yeah, let me actually take this back again. And get here, so roughly here. That is, yeah, it's roughly 1/3. So it's like 1 1/3 here. So having this, and considering from the side, the head is just 1 1, or in this case, it would be 1 1/3 and 1 1/3. So if we take this, something like this probably. So this is 1, roughly. This is 1. Again, this is 1/3. Given this front size, but the head then here from the side, if you take the skull, would definitely be something more like this. So something roughly like that. The ear starting in the middle, more or less. And then you got the eyes here, obviously. And the nose bridge. So you can do the same thing. Now this is going to be complicated if you do it like with rounded forms, but ideally you can do the exact same thing. So if you make a box, let's see if I can make it into a box. And there are some rules to make an actual box. It's just not very simple to do. So if I take this, considering I've got, so it's going to be deeper than it is taller. So if this is a square box with square faces, like a die, and drawing through, I would have to add 1/3 of this to this. So it's about 1/3. About, we don't care about being super precise, something maybe a little more than that to add the bottom of the face. But again, there are faces that are square, there are faces that are very elongated like mine or kind of elongated like mine, so it doesn't really matter at that point. You make another square here, more or less, and this is going to be the wrapper for your head. Obviously it's not a sphere, but in this wrapper then you can figure out where the actual volume of the head goes. So if we consider it's gotta get here to the front. Now it's not gonna be super precise, obviously, but you can cartoon then too. Cartoon what? Wait, is it late? Is the restream bot late? Because I'm thinking it's something I said a while ago. Can you clarify, Simon? Sorry, because I'm also thinking about this, so I'm trying to connect my brain as well as I possibly can. Oh, you mean the head proportions? Yes, of course. This would be if this is the side of the head, would be something like this, probably, maybe less than that there. I don't know. This is just an example, so forgive me for the crudeness. But it would be something like, maybe this is the skull there. And we got the halfway, which is here. And we start with the ear. And then we come forward. Obviously the chin is like just something like this. I'm assuming it's flat. It doesn't have to be. Probably a little, something like this, a little less than the maximum length. Yeah, I can read you, Simon. Faces, you can cartoon faces. You can cartoon faces to look like a box or any shape. Yeah, absolutely. Just talking like in general here. So this would be something like this, probably. Right. So like that one face would probably be something like this. Given, this should probably even go a little farther there. I don't know, something like that, I guess. It didn't really, yeah, because it looks really fat from the side. Could have been even a little less. I probably made the proportions a little off, but something like that. And then you can rotate the same thing. Obviously with the face, it's pretty easy because faces are kind of easy to identify in three-dimensional space. But if you got vehicles, that's going to be complicated. So that's why it's useful to use like the duplication here, not duplication, like the proportional thing here. This is bothering me though, so let me just add a little to it. Might be a little low. Oh, it is a little low. But something like that. Something akin to that. Although I wouldn't use this method for a head, personally. I would not. So, chat bot is only 5 seconds late. Okay, 5 seconds is acceptable. So anyway, let's continue with our simple stuff. What else can I add to it? Now I'm just gonna add some bevels to the boxes here, I guess. So what if I go in? Basically insetting it. Not exactly insetting. Insetting means something else, but I guess it's fine. So technically I could do this and draw a smaller box inside, although it's kind of complicated to tell now because we've got so many lines there. One of the excuses that I use for not studying perspective enough is that I get very confused when there are lots of lines. Very confused, and I get upset, so I stop. Now let's inset it equally, like here, like this. So this would be here, 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 something like that. Or even not. You know what? We don't need to inset the face, actually. You can just round it. Just round it here. probably, and then make another face on top. In which case you do need to inset. It's bad. So something like here it goes up, because obviously this face needs to be higher. I think there is actually, look, if I inset this one, it's probably a little better. Because if I this would be here. This is here. This is here. Obviously the box becomes smaller in that case. It's like a, I don't know, portable fridge or something. All right, Saman. Take care. And other things I do, depending on what I'm working on, is simple forms that are related to the stuff that I'm working on. Like if I'm working on horses, I'm going to draw those simple building blocks for the horse as a warm-up. Even the saddle shape. Something like that. And obviously, it doesn't all need to be so 100% rigid. You can also start bending shapes. And another exercise that I was doing when I was doing the dynamic sketching was drawing random shapes, in this case actually not forms, and then going over them, trying to define their volume a little bit. Something like that. Maybe crossing it like this. Crossing it in this direction too. Everything is on the same wavelength, like trying to capture that feeling of the third dimension, basically. To going around this so that it's not just flat. Or you can even do rocks, like you can do something like this, and then figure out cool ways to break this into pieces without making it look flat, which does, like this one feels a little flat, but it's, you know, it's just an exercise, so it doesn't really matter as long as you understand the problem. A little too simple there, but it's mostly like sausage shapes, sausages, sort of. You will see this done a lot in various online courses because it is a useful exercise, quite honestly. It gets more complicated. You can start adding different things, like, well, this could be a hand, for example. Start adding and merging shapes on top. It doesn't have to be an actual hand. In fact, this is not clearly, but as long as it kind of feels like, and it feels three-dimensional, it's fine. All these exercises are done with just one purpose: increase the awareness of the third dimension of the paper or surface. Were you thinking of bird or hungry man next? Bird, I guess. Yeah, I really didn't work on it though. I tried a few sketches this morning, but I really am not very focused, so it would come out pretty bad. I'm gonna work on it when I'm there, I guess, next week. Ideally. RNK Cheese was turning his kaiju into a bird too, really? Yeah, I didn't see the whole stream. Oh wait, I think I know what you mean. Yes, I saw that it started out as a human-like thing, and then he morphed the arms into wings. It's a little too much. You have this tendency to just exaggerate the perspective a little bit, like making the lines converge a little too much. It's pretty much potatoes, not really spheres. Actually, no. Let me try the other thing. Another exercise from Drawbox that's very useful is the treasure chest. So in this case, you have to merge several skills. Let's call them skills. So you gotta draw a box, obviously. Then you gotta draw a hinging part out of it that's got the same sort of length radius wise with this, because obviously it's gonna be a lid. And then there is a circular aspect to it. It's also necessary to consider, something like this. Yeah, kind of rough. It's a little small, maybe. And so that's a treasure chest. Very strange treasure chest with strange proportions, but it is a treasure chest. Obviously, the problems come when parts are rotating at different angles. Like, this is just one axis of rotation, but what if it's two? That I'm not going to do because I'm not able to do it without technical help from tools. I've almost worked the same amount today as I did all day yesterday, and it just turned noon. Well, I guess you work more efficiently then. Sundays are so bad, I'm thinking of just taking them off. Yeah, it could be a good idea. Probably. Let's try some more compound shapes. Or blobby shapes. Can even try to cut them at some point. Hello, Emperor of Cheese. Welcome back. The reason why I do this is because at some point you will realize that drawing limbs is just about drawing simple forms and connecting them. There is nothing else. If you take the forearm is basically a ball, let's call it, with a box nested into it. That's basically just the forearm. Right, then you can do... honestly, I kind of prefer doing the upper arm as a box as well, because it is rounded. You can add stuff that's rounded on top, but doing it as a cylinder, I might for simplicity, but I feel like it just conveys the angle a little better like that. Yes, we briefly mentioned your kaiju, sir. All of these forms are obviously arbitrary. I mean, you do not have to draw them in a specific way. There's no right and wrong. The only way it's kind of wrong, like this thing I did here, is when it flattens out the surface a little too much. So... You can also take a simple form, like let's say a rounded triangle, simple shape in this case, and extrude it like a tail. This is another artwood exercise, by the way, that I used to do a lot. And the way it actually works is not trivial, because at some point you realize, hey, it's not like I can just do a simple blob like this, because it's got 3 different sides and it's going to behave differently when it turns. So it's very interesting and challenging, actually, if you start adding more complex shapes. So this would be, you have to always consider the existence of that triangle, even if as it's waving, winding backwards. Like this might be a little too wide here, probably something more like this. And then, doesn't matter, ends in a point. But it's always doing this. And it's turning, obviously. You gotta be conscious of how it works, where it goes, and so on. Strange tail with the strange bones there. Just trying to add some more compound shapes. This is like a keyhole. You could actually use a real keyhole. Shape and extrude it in this direction. You gotta also decide, obviously, where this line is going, because it's not just a wiggle on the page, it's not flat. So this would ideally go back, and then maybe come back to the front, and then maybe go back again. Do something like that. Maybe getting smaller progressively. Or not. Well, kind of a little smaller. Not too much smaller. And then you got this, which must be taken into account. It would be something like that. Extruded. This is extrusion. Quite literally extrusion. If you're familiar with 3D programs, that's what it is. Just taking a surface, any surface, and this can be done with, as a base step. Well, first when you 3D model, but also when you draw. Like if you have a car shape. This is what what's his name? Not Craig Mullins. Scott Robertson teaches in his book, using the same method as before with the boxes. You have a car shape. Now, I didn't draw cars, so forgive the crudeness of this. This is some weird ass car. Pretend this is a car. Maybe with bigger wheels. Okay, you got that, and you can extrude this and make a base shape, sorry, basic form. You can work out and chisel. Like even if you do it straight, obviously the car is not a block like this. I mean, it can be if it's cartoony, but at this point you just have to round out some parts or indent some parts, and then it's going to become a car. It's one of the methods that he explains in the How to Draw book. Highly, highly recommended, by the way. Highly recommended. We still got some space here. Let's do more cylinders. Oops. That's a stinker. Yeah, I try not to draw the axis too much beforehand. Oops. That's bad. I'm gonna leave it. I can just spray it off. I am actually drawing with a felt tip pen. When I said felt tip, I spit all over my tablet. Whoops. Anyway, you see, even by doing something else, in the meantime, I've drawn a lot of boxes. So if you're up for that draw 200 boxes challenge, you can see it doesn't really take that much. Yes, it is gross. Man, trying to freehand ellipses is a torture. God, look at this. Ultimately, though, you can turn this into whatever you want. Like, it can be any kind of exercise, any kind of form you want it to be. If you're working on anatomy, you can just turn these into simple representations of anatomical parts. Like, instead of just drawing the cylinder, you draw a taper, slightly curved cylinder for the leg, and then you draw the lower leg underneath as another cylinder, or actually not here. Or you can draw it differently. You can use like a chicken thigh, sort of. Technically, it would become a square here, and then down here, a drumstick, and then you do that. Again, it really depends on what you want to do. Just merging shapes together and forms. Shapes into forms to represent whatever you have to represent, pretty much. The good thing about doing something like this is that, again, you kind of turn off that part of your brain that tells you, oh, you're doing it doesn't look good, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but it's still, you get mileage with this in, because you are in fact drawing. This is what drawing is traditionally. Well, I would say, yeah, traditional, like trying to render something that's three-dimensional on a flat surface. And so it is mileage. It can be considered boring. I kind of like these exercises every now and then, especially if I'm tired or I haven't done them in a while. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna grind for a few hours, and I'm going to do these. It doesn't train your imagination, obviously, but it does help with everything else, drawing-wise. And if you want to get really technical, I don't want this to be about hard perspective, but you can do more exercises that are specifically perspective oriented. Like you can draw a straight line and then radiating, I can see if I do that, radiating lines out of here, just freehanding these, forgive the not straightness of them. And then you can just draw, this is 1 point perspective, and you can just draw boxes here. You can draw 2D boxes first, and then just connect them. Once you're good enough, you don't really need the lines anymore. Although I would recommend personally, this is just a personal preference, to limit the amount of hard perspective you do at the beginning and try to focus on just feeling the third dimension. Because if you got set rules, then you're gonna need them every single time you want to draw something in perspective. Oops. Yeah, I am using Control Z. I know. Anyway, all right. I think I'm gonna close here. I've got some decent exercises in. Hopefully it was informative and useful. Thanks everybody for watching. Tomorrow we're gonna do I don't know, maybe some random creature sketching, something like that, very chill. We'll see. So yeah, thanks again everybody. Thanks for your company. Have a good one, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.